Well, good morning, my stitchy friends. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad you're joining me today. And if you're new here, thanks for stopping by. And if you're some of my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming to join me and hang out with me for a little bit of stitching. Well, guys, my apologies. First off, get the elephant out of the room here. I have been working on this video for the best part of this week. I recorded on, what's today? Friday. I recorded on Wednesday to put it up on Wednesday. I had to do a little bit of editing, which I normally don't have to do, but this time I needed to do just a little bit of editing. So I put it in iMovie because I have a M1 Mac Mini. And I went to save my edits in iMovie and saved them to a file so that I could upload it to YouTube. And 4 hours later, it still hadn't saved. And iMovie had crashed. So I tried it again. And iMovie had crashed. So I went on the internet and did all the things and tried to find all the things to try and fix it. Long story short, I spent 2 days, all day Wednesday, not quite because I had an appointment yesterday morning, but after I got home, the rest of the day and the evening, nothing was working. So I decided to send it to YouTube and use the YouTube editor. Okay, great idea, Karen. That's wonderful. Absolutely. That should work. I can just put it to YouTube, make the video private or unlisted, do the edits, let it process again, and then change the visibility to public, and everybody will have their video. Well, I thought it was an excellent idea. And I did those edits up on YouTube in the YouTube editor. And I said to save it. And it said it was going to process again. And it might take a while, a few hours to do so. And when my husband went to bed at 11 o'clock, it was still processing. Okay, I'll give it a little more time. Okay, sure, let's give it a little more time. Now, mind you, the processing started around 4 o'clock in the afternoon because it was shortly before we eat dinner, and we usually eat around 5 o'clock. So it started processing at, oh phooey, hold on, made a mistake already. Figures. It started processing around 4 o'clock, give or take 15 minutes or so. Well, like I said, at 11 o'clock, it was still processing. At 12:30, it was still processing. At 1:30, it was still processing. Well, can you tell I was just a little bit annoyed? Here, it just added to my technical issues, which should not surprise one because usually I have some sort of technical issue. Well, about 1:45, I said, enough. Enough is enough is enough. I am not waiting any longer. All I did was have to edit the last couple minutes, and it should not be taking all this time to process. So, as a result, I deleted it. I deleted it from YouTube. I deleted it from my computer. I just plain old deleted it all and said, that's it. I'm done. I am not spending all this time on this video. It was just like I'm doing today, a stitch with me. So today you are getting take number 2, but hopefully it won't need all the other time spent on it that the other one did. And we will try and get through this one without having to make any edits. I will try not to put any bloopers in here that will have to be edited out like I did on the other one. Oh, the story of my life is just technical issue after technical issue. And I don't know. It's not as simple, pardon me, it's not as simple as some people think to make these videos, especially if you want pictures in pictures. And yeah, I didn't put myself on this. Oops, I didn't put myself on the screen today. Sorry. You just get to look at my hands and my stitching today. I didn't want you to see my angry face. But not only was that the issue, the sound on this computer, I always have to fiddle with to make sure that the sound is coming through the way it should come through and not sounding like I'm in a tin can, or I don't know. Every time I record, whether it be a recorded video or a live stream, I have to fuss with the sound settings. So I get a little frustrated with all of that. And I guess I'm tired of being frustrated. So that segues into the 4th of July. Where my daughter and her husband and the kids came to spend the best part of the morning with us. And yes, I had a wonderful, wonderful birthday. Just spending time with all of them was birthday enough. I will save it for forever, the cards that my grandkids made. Emmy wrote in hers, "Happy birthday, Nana, and happy 4th of July. Love you, Emmy." Abe wrote in his, "Happy birthday, Nana. You make me joyful," and I think it was joyful and happy. And oh, how darn sweet was that? So Nana will save those cards and one day show them what they wrote in Nana's birthday card. So we did some puzzles and other stuff with the kids, and this kind of gets away from where I was going with this story, but that's okay. It will come back around. So I had knit, because I can't normally stitch a long length of time anymore because of this arm, which most of you already know about. I've been knitting some socks, which I really enjoy knitting socks. And I made a pair for Emmy, but it just so happened that they were too small. Okay, what do I have messed up here? Or am I at the wrong place? Let me mark off here. But I'll keep talking. But they ended up being too small. The length of them was fine. However, they weren't round enough. So I had another hank of yarn. Oh, okay. I'm looking at the wrong row. That's why I was messed up. I had another hank of yarn, and so I said, and she was bored. So I said, well, Em, why don't you help Nana wind all this yarn into a ball? If you hold this for me, now she's 7, so she could hold it. If you hold this for me, then I'll wind it, and then we can use this yarn to make your socks. Well, that lasted about 2 seconds. Oh, I can't do this, Nana. My arms they're too tired. Oh, typical Emmy. So I said, okay, that's all right. Nana can manage. So I have chairs that have like little spindles on the back. So I don't have a yarn swift because I haven't knit that much where I really needed one. And it was, I was quite all right with just making do by hanging the hank somewhere and then winding from that. Well, for some reason, the one end of this hank was rather like twisted on itself, and the yarn was such that it kind of would stick together. So you'd have to like shake it a little bit so it would loosen from the other strand, because it wasn't wrapped around, it was just kind of stuck together. So I was rolling it in a ball, and after a while, Adam, my wonderful son-in-law, came over and said, I'll help you do that. I said, oh, okay, well, here, just hold, just hold this hank. Well, the hank was a lot more tangled than initially met the eye. And we ended up with this total nest of yarn twisted on itself. I mean, we got about half of the hank wound into a ball, but the rest, well, It gives whole new meaning to the word spider web. But we continued to work on it to try and get it undone. But while we were doing that, in the meantime, the kids and my daughter and my husband went outside. They were out in the yard doing whatever they do out in the yard. So Adam and I had this nice little time that we spent together, just chatting about stuff. And I was talking about this Mac Mini that I have and how I wish, or I'm wishing I would not have gotten it and would have gotten a PC instead. Just because of the things that I liked, that I want to do. If I'm going to live stream and I'm going to record videos and I'm going to upload videos and I'm going to edit videos, which I don't have to edit that often, but occasionally I do. And the trouble I was having, and the trouble I have with the sound before I either record or go live, was getting just overall rather frustrating. So we were talking about PCs, and he had gotten a PC for each of the kids for Christmas, and then he got one for himself. And he does a lot of research, and he had them built. So it wasn't like your standard Dell computer or HP computer or whatever other brand is out there. It was one that was custom built to his specifications. And I believe that means that if you need or want more, like hard drive space or more memory or more whatever all those other things are, you can upgrade it where you don't have to, like an Apple, this Mac Mini, what you get is what you get. And you can't go in there and change anything. It's not a machine that you can upgrade down the line if you find you need more oomph. And I'm finding I need more of whatever it is I need more of. And he understands all of that. I don't understand the hardware things. I can do, I can work my way around the software and all of that stuff. And, well, Adam is a software engineer, so he, has a pretty good working knowledge. And so we were having that conversation, and I said, well, I think maybe at some point I'm going to have to make a decision about changing computers. I said, but I don't know that I'm ready right now. Well, let me tell you, folks, after the day I had the last 2 days, I'm ready. So I sent my dear, dear son-in-law a message last night and said, start looking for the deals and see what you can find for me. And how can I sell the Mac Mini? The Mac Mini is fine. It is a perfectly fine unit. It just doesn't have enough power for what I want to do. So I said, find me a deal. I'm going to sell this one. I can spend that money towards a PC, and merrily will go along. Because I said, this is just getting way, way, way too frustrating. So that is what I'm going to do. So that is my computer saga. And the reason you didn't have a video earlier this week, or even several videos this week, because I just couldn't get it up there. It was just giving me a bit of a fit. Like I said, it's a perfectly wonderful little computer. It just doesn't have enough power to do what I want to do. So that means, got a piece of thread. Oops. That means we need to make a change. And that's okay. That's perfectly okay. And hopefully I can sell what I have, because what I have is the M1 Mac Mini with 16 gigabytes of RAM. So that's one step up from the base. And it has the smaller hard drive in it. However, I did get a dock to put it on, and I did buy a 1 terabyte SD card. So it has all of that. Whoops, sorry, didn't mean to bump you. It has all of that storage space. So it's a nice little computer, you know, for those that are gonna maybe not need to do as much power things. I don't know how to explain it, but as much heavy work as I do. You know, if you're just gonna use it like an everyday kind of thing and do email and the internet and run some programs, which you can do quite well. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I just need a little more pizzazz. Yes, is how I would say it. Jazzed up a little bit. So yeah, that's my story of why I didn't have more videos. I had every intention of I wanted to get at least 2 Stitch with me's up this week, and I would have, I mean, that was part of the reason I didn't do the live on Wednesday night, because yeah, I was waiting for things to save, which they were not doing. And I didn't want to, I didn't want to close out that program and then be running another program for fear that that would just mess the whole kit and caboodle up. So, oh, the horrors. The horrors. In fact, at one point, I was doing a video call, and because I have the sound all geared for OBS, sometimes when I do other things that need sound on here, it's not quite right. And I needed to do a video call, and I just couldn't get the sound right. And I actually then needed to use my iPad, because either the person I was talking with couldn't hear me, and then there was a point where I couldn't hear her, and everything that I tried to switch around wasn't working. So yeah, frustration. Frustration. And the one thing I did not try, and I guess I could have, but I have so much that I didn't necessarily want to lose things. I could have probably put this back to factory settings and started all over again. But I didn't want to go there. I uninstalled certain things. I reinstalled certain things. Or reinstalled them. Yeah. Too much wasted time that took away from my stitching. So now that I ranted a little bit and got it all off my chest and made the decision to change my computer to a PC. How is everybody today? And what are you stitching? I'm working on Autumn Church Frame by Dominic Davidson, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And I'm using 22 count Hardanger fabric. And I'm stitching 1 over 1. And I rather enjoy that. And with some help of some cheaters, me and my extra set of eyes, I can see that just fine. Now my eyes still do, if I stitch too long, either my eyes get tired or my arm will start to bother me. But you know what? It is what it is. And I'm hoping, because I am switching eye doctors, because I'm not exactly happy with the one that I have been going to. And my husband was going to her also, and he wasn't exactly happy. So we decided to switch. And I have an appointment next week. I think it's next Friday. So we will see how that goes. And I'm going to take my stitching along and say, look, in fact, I do have a little bit of some finer count fabric that I didn't get rid of, just in case. I'm going to take it along and show him what it is that I want to do and see if he can fix me up, that I can go back to seeing some finer count fabric again. Yeah, because I really do love stitching on it. I really do. Not over 1. Well, I'd even opt to be able, if I could go back to the 25 count over 1, that would be wonderful. Now, this 22 count is nice, especially, and I really am enjoying it, especially for the fact that if you want to do a pin stitch, it's much, much easier than on 25 count. And when you think about it, it's really not that much different size-wise than the 28 count. I'm sorry, then the 22 count is really not that much different than the 25 count. And the fact that it's a different weave makes it easier if you're going to do pin stitches or in the ways that you are going to start and end threads. So that is a nice advantage to using 22 count. Where, you know, if you want to do a pin stitch on 25 count, you really, to have it be a little easier, you really need to switch your needle and use a chenille needle because that's sharper to pierce the threads. Yeah. But that's oftentimes the issue of those threads, fabric threads on the 25 count are much harder to pierce than the threads here on the 22 count because they have two strands together make up, how can you say it? Well, you can see it if I zoom in. Here we go. See, this is two threads of the fabric make up each intersection. So it's easier to get in between them. Yeah. It's easier to get in between them to do a pin stitch. Sorry, my stomach's growling. I hope you didn't hear that. Okay, hold it straight up here. There we go. So see, that's much easier to do than trying to split the thread or the fabric on 25 count. So you know, that makes this a little bit more enjoyable. And I am one of those people that prefers to stitch with only one thread. I am one of those people that does not particularly like stitching with two threads. So this is perfect for me. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, when you don't catch the thread on things and pull your needle out and all that good stuff. This is perfect. Now, I still put my cheater glasses on. And I find then that my eyes don't get quite as tired as they did with cheaters and on like 25 or 36 count. So this is rather nice. And yes, I keep forgetting myself and I stitch with one hand instead of two. I will switch back after I mark these stitches off. Oh. Yeah. And this probably looks a little odd, the way I'm stitching this, but I don't know how many of you have watched Allison's videos on Royal Rose. And I think she has a nice concept where she does two squares. And she calls them towers and works across the two squares and parks in the next one and until she goes across the whole pattern. Now, I did switch to markup RXP, like I said before, because I really wanted to give it an honest try to see if it's something I'm gonna like, because of all the features of the statistics that it keeps. So I can only do one page at a time. I did that stitch already, so let's mark it off. I can only do one page at a time, so I'm only working across the top row, but I'm not doing it in a manner of where I have to park threads, because I am not enjoying parking. I would much rather take a thread and either complete it or end it, as opposed to parking it. I don't know. I think my head is just at a place where the parking just makes me a little crazy. It just gets on my last nerve, is about what it does. So what I'm doing so that I don't have to park is I'm just working across a row. And I only did one row this time because I wanted to see how that goes. Yes, your back is not going to be nice. And I'm okay with that. Don't even know what it looks like at this point, because I haven't flipped it over, but I'm okay with that. It doesn't, when I put my hand down there, it doesn't feel excessively bulky, so well, it doesn't really feel bulky at all, so that's okay by me at this point in time. So anyway, I thought I would try her method, but do it in such a way that I'm not parking threads. So that kind of means just, filling in the colors. When I do move down a row, in fact, I may start now of moving down a row, then I'll do 2 squares, a depth of 2 squares. I may start, because I'm worried then about the page lines here at the edge. So I may start leaving spaces in these last 2 or 3 rows, of maybe not finishing a color in these last two or 3 vertical rows, as a way to do some feathering into the next page. Because when you go to the next page, you have that gray area, which is these three vertical columns here, like 1, 2, 3. So if I leave blank stitches in any of those, that will account for the feathering, and I can pick them up on the next page. Okay, which is another reason to start at page 1 and work the pages in order, because then you get that gray area that if you don't stitch random stitches in there, you have them on the next page in order to be able to feather that way. So I guess it would be kind of a reverse way of feathering. I don't know. But that is my plan at this moment. So I think what I might do with this thread now is start, me just see where this color goes. Oh, yeah, it only comes back way back over here after these. So I will just end. These colors that are left on this top row are probably colors that don't go anyplace else. But these next two blocks down will be ones that I can use the whole length of thread. Now I will show you this. I did redo my floss pages, and it really is working out rather well. Let me just pull one from my book here that I have. Okay, here's one. What I got was, let me bring you back out here. Okay, what I got was several things. First off, I got some adhesive back felt, and this is the same things that you would use like to cut circles out of or squares to put on the bottom of chairs, maybe, so that they don't scratch your floor. And I put that on each page so that after I loop the thread back through, I can now put my thread back through my tab and bring it down and stick it into the felt and pull it through. Okay, so now this doesn't flop around, and when I need the color again, I can just pull this strand from the top. Now, what I did here, instead of using her sticky tabs, is I got some of the, I guess it's a plastic that you use to make stencils, and I cut them to fit in these little channels, and then I used removable labels to put the color number on. So these are all cut. If I run out, then I can just put a new color on. If I don't need this color anymore, I can peel this label off, save this for the next project, and put a new sticker on there. So, I mean, they're clear. I don't know if you can see it, but it's just a clear little piece of the plastic, and then I can just stick that up in there, and I have them cut to the length where it doesn't pull this way out and makes pulling your threads, they stay a lot neater. So that's what I did to alter this for me. So that's that. Okay, so we're at about 45 minutes here. So I think, I'm going to call this an end and see if I can get this one up on YouTube. And if not, well, then we'll do take number 3. So with that, my friends, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for spending time with me. Thank you for coming back to all my videos. You guys are the best. And I love each and every one of you. And I will hopefully see you in this video. If not, I'll record another one and see if we can get that one up. So If this one doesn't go up, I will put a note in the community tab so that you guys know what's going on. So with that, my friends, have a great weekend, and I will see you in my next video. Just remember, there are no rules in cross stitch. The only rules are the ones you set for yourself. So don't let people steal your joy. Just do you. And be happy with your stitching. That's all that counts. See you next time. Bye-bye.